Yo, what is up? I am here with the king, Mitch, with RIDGID Tools, and we're gonna talk about the investment of this product and why companies should invest. When I started with a bunch of other companies before I had my own company, not one of those companies invested in a tool like this. Why do you think that they didn't see the investment?
Well, you know, it's a big expense for you know, somebody that might have a small company or they're on their own, etc. I mean, if you're going to spend $1,500 to $3,000 on a set of tools, you're going to make sure you get your investment out of it. So I think a lot of people are a little hesitant to do it right out of the gate.
Right. So what would you say to them? Like, I'm a skeptical buyer, and I'm like, dude, it's a lot of money. And I see some other pressing companies or tool manufacturers, it might be a lower margin.
Right.
Why choose RIDGID over the other brands?
Well, you know, I'll get to your first question, and that is, you know, why would you press? Well, it's really an investment in time, and especially if you need to invest in a fire watch, right? It's a lot of expense. When they're pressing, you don't need to have a fire watch. You have no flame. You're doing the job basically, you know, of soldering in 5 seconds.
Right.
So, you know, you're saving a lot of time. You think about it, I talk to a lot of contractors of all sizes. If they've got a $100,000 job, I know that $50,000, you know, of their dollars is going to be spent on labor. If they can save 20-30% of that by pressing all their fittings, bam, you know, it falls to the bottom line.
You know where the benefit is for me as a service plumber is the time efficiency, just like what you said. So I get emergency calls all the time, and there's gonna be a leak in the wall. It's a ½ inch line, not a big deal, right? But the way California plumbs, we have loops. And what happens is when you cut that loop, the water will siphon from other areas, and it'll continue to run inside the house as we're trying to sweat, all that stuff. So for me, when I'm on an emergency call in the middle of the night, and this homeowner is stressed out, her kids need to get to bed, and they're having a really hard time dealing with the situation, I come in there with my press tool and ease the situation by getting in and out as fast as I possibly can for them with this pressing technology.
It makes all the sense in the world, yeah. And as soon as you apply heat, you're going to suck more water, right? So if you have a loop like that, I understand. It's a mess. Yeah.
It's a nightmare. It's a can of worms. I get guys that call me all the time like, John, what do I do? This water, I can't get it to stop. I'm like, hey, simple solution. Pro press it.
There you go.
And they're like, but I didn't get it from the shop. I'm like, okay.
Right.
Go get it.
Go get one now.
Yeah, right. Or invest in one yourself so you can always have it on your truck. And you know, I want to go back to why the companies that I previously worked for never invested in the tool. And I will say that it's probably a double-edged sword. One was probably like they didn't feel like technicians would take care of it, right?
Right.
So there's the damage control and all that stuff, and tracking the equipment, like checking it in and out, it's more of a hassle, right? But the other spectrum is that they may have thought that by getting this piece of equipment, there was going to be more problems than it created from them pressing wrong or something like that. But that's literally lack of education.
Yeah. It's really simple to make a press, right?
Yes.
I mean, lining up your jaw, making sure that you fully inserted the pipe, make your mark, make sure that you're doing all the right things. You know, make sure that the press cycle is complete. But you know, the gun is going to help you along the way too, right? Because it's not going to come off the fitting unless it's completed its cycle.
Yeah.
And you know, the main thing is make sure that's aligned, and that's, you know, on the jaws. That's why you've got alignment marks on.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have a lot of people that want to invest in the tools all the time. They're like literally calling me, John, I know you're a RIDGID man, and I know you have Milwaukee Press Tools. Which one is better and why? And because I want to invest in this product, but I want to be able to do everything. I'm like, well, it's really hard to do that because I want to know the situations that you're going to be using this tool in, really, because like this new RP 43, right? 43? Yeah,
342.
342, sorry. This piece of equipment does all sizes and every and every style pipe, right? And this is probably the best investment a company can make because it does all sizes from 1/2 inch all the way up to 4 inch, right?
Correct.
And but it all the different types of pipe, gas,
copper, PEX, steel, carbon steel up to 4 inches,
right.
2.5 to 4. It will do it all. Single press.
So for a service plumber, I honestly would not recommend this though.
Right.
Mainly because it's really big. This is more for an industrial setting, I would say, but you could steer me wrong for that. But I don't want to bring this massive thing inside of a wall to make a press joint, or inside a water closet, or a water heater closet. That's what I meant to say.
Right.
And so that's where I would want a more compact tool, such as this new one, and I would want to get into tight situations. I know you guys have the C1 press jaws.
Right.
I've never had to use those. Of course, I don't have any, but
We'll have to get you some, huh?
I find that the pistol grip really helps me get into any situation or helps me get out of any situation that I'm in. And mainly, I think the reason why I haven't had a problem is because I actually plan my presses.
Right.
So I would say that I dry fit a lot. So I would prefab everything before I make one press.
Right.
And then I would come back and start pressing. But I would also be developing a pattern of how and where I'm going to be pressing, so that I don't run into a situation where I have to have the C1s and lock myself into a situation like that. But the C1s, obviously for boilers, I think they're awesome because you have a lot of copper lines that are super close together, and there's no way that you can open up the jaw and go fully around that to make your press cycle. But one awesome thing about the new 350 is it's a endless spin,
continuous,
right? Continuous swivel. Right. So I've definitely gone into situations where I put my jaws up and I try and get that right angle, and I'm like, oh man, why did I not? And then I take it back off, cycle half or do a 360 turn, and then I get on there and I do the right, I do the cycle.
Right.
But with this, I won't have to take it back off and back on. So I really like this new pressing tool right here.
Well, the neat part about this 350 as well is, it's got a brushless motor on it. It's never going to need, it does not have any scheduled maintenance cycles on it. So we're testing this thing in the lab right now. It's reaching 100,000 cycles without failure, which is absolutely fabulous, right? Our folks are really going to like that. It's got a, little bit more forward grip on it, so it's a little more balanced. So you're going to get more efficiency. It is Bluetooth compatible, just like our 240 and 241.
Nice.
Yeah, so it is a really nice tool. We're really excited to be launching this around the April timeframe.
So I want to go back to like the original situation that I probably pulled us off track here. Why would I want to invest into pressing?
Right. Yeah. So I think there are a number of things, but it really comes down to time and money.
Yeah.
Pressing is just going to save you time, and time is money, right?
Cool.
So
absolutely.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming over here.
You bet. Thanks.